I'll try this a new way. I'm gonna show you the tricks that I know. I'm getting tired of talking, and I need more of a show right now. It's time that you made your mind up, 'cause lately all it ever does is change. Feels like we're only talking, going round and around, back around. I will fight like no other every day. I won't stop like the others. I will stay. 'Cause now is the right time, and I'm feeling alright. I'm playing your game like I know I can win right now. You got me up tonight, 'cause loving you is like I'm walking a tightrope so high. I won't be turning around, no, I won't be turning around. I'm feeling alright. I'm playing your game like I will win tonight. I think I'll do it on my way. I'm gonna show you what I'm going through, get you out of your comfort zone, 'cause I need more of the truth right now. It's time that you made your mind up, 'cause lately all it ever does is change. Feels like we're only talking, going round and around, back around. I will fight like no other every day. I won't stop like the others. I will stay. 'Cause now is the right time, and I'm feeling alright. I'm playing your game like I know I can win right now. You got me up tonight, 'cause loving you is like I'm walking a tightrope so high. I won't be turning around, no, I won't be turning around. You feeling alright? I'm playing your game like I will win tonight. Don't forget it, don't forget it, don't forget it. We'll turn this around. Don't forget it, don't forget it, don't forget it. We'll turn this around. I guess I'm gonna stay, but I'm just gonna wait in the background, watching you talk to her. I know this might look bad, but I'm just gonna melt in the background, watching you lean into her. I'm a fool. I just wanna get close to you. Yeah, I wanna get close. I'm a fool. I know. Are you thinking about us too? 'Cause I don't know. Are you missing it just like I do? Are you worried about me too? 'Cause I'm thinking aloud, I'm wondering about you, eh? I don't even know what it feels like when your eyes are staring at me. I miss them. I'm about to lose it. All of my friends telling me to leave for the night. It's for the best. I'm a fool. I just wanna get close to you. Yeah, I wanna get close. I'm a fool. I know. Are you thinking about us too? Are you missing it just like I do? Are you worried about me too? 'Cause I'm thinking a lot. love you, but I might. 'Cause your lips, they taste like cherry wine. You're no good for me, we're so bittersweet, but I still want you, I do. Baby, can't you see what you do to me? I just can't resist you. You got me drunk in love, I can't sleep. I need to sober up from this dream. But I can't deny, I can't deny you. I can't deny, I can't deny you. Na 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 na. Na 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 na
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tuesday Night Studio Sessions. My name is Sean, and I'll be your host. Tonight, we have a very interesting show. We're going to talk about some possibilities of rumors coming up. Well, the rumors are now, but possibly a drone coming out this fall, the long-awaited DJI Pro 3. We think it's going to be called the Pro 3 because they've been taking Mavic off of all their latest drones. We're going to look at what the specs are of the 2 and possibly the original, just to see kind of a timeline of features and specs. And then we're going to look at all the competitors that are really out there right now as far as fold-up professional type drones that are really meant for photography and videography. And then we're going to take all of that and see what DJI needs to offer in today's market to be competitive, what kind of specs this drone needs, and what we think DJI will deliver on. Whenever we do speculation and what's going to come out, and we all have like wish lists of things that would like the perfect drone, but it's not always the case when the drone finally comes out. In my opinion, the DJI Air 2S is almost perfect. So the Pro 3 is going to have to deliver some pretty hefty specs to compete with the Air 2S, in my opinion. I think the Air 2S has succeeded, has risen above the Pro 2. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I don't want to give away any spoilers, or actually this is going to be kind of a progressive night. So as we talk, we're going to learn things. As we look at websites, we're going to learn things. We're going to compare kind of what's out there. And I think you all have opinions too. I know a lot of you have flown the 2 Pros, and a lot of DJI drones. We've got Unique flyers in here. We've got Parrot flyers in here, Autel, and Skydio. We're going to look at all of those drone companies and see, if we made a drone that would outperform all of those other drones, then that's what I think the Pro 3 should be to be competitive nowadays. So we're going to look at that and see, that's what the show's going to be tonight. We do have 3 videos sent in from Steven Drones this week. So I'm going to start calling that segment Videos from Steve, because nobody else is sending me any videos. I know y'all make videos. I know y'all watch me because you're into making cool videos, whether it's with your drones or with your cameras or action cameras or whatever it might be. But yeah, that's what the show's going to be about tonight. Let me know in the chat if you can see me really well and you can hear me really well. I moved a lot of things around in the office. I switched lenses from the Canon Nifty 50 to a the company's Young New, which is kind of weird. But it's a It's an Asian company. And I'm using the 35 millimeter, and this has an f-stop of 2. So I still get the blurriness, but I only spent $75 on this lens. So look for that review coming up on the channel. But yeah, I see we've got a lot of people in the chats. We've got Grumpy Vlogger, we've got Eat More Possum, and we've got Pablo. I hope I don't butcher your name, but we've got Pablo Castanero. Is that how you say your name? All the way from Uruguay. So that is awesome. Hope you're having a wonderful night or day. What time is it there? I feel like you're only like a couple hours difference. But yeah, let me know what time it is there. I'm always interested to talk to people from other countries. I've been a missionary for I was a missionary for a couple of years, and I've been to a lot of different countries. And so I've settled down since I have a family, a wife, and kids now. But I love going to other countries and learning about cultures. So he said it's 2047 there. So that's, oh, it's 8:47 there. Okay, so only 2 hours difference. That's pretty cool. I think I did the math right there. We don't use military time here, so I don't, or 24-hour time. So I get confused at times there, but I feel like 20 is 8. So, yeah. So it's 6:48. We're going to wait for about 10 minutes to get people in here. This is just the pre-show. Make sure everything's good and going on. I couldn't do anything about this bar behind me, so I decided to put one of my lights up there. I had it turned on, but there was too much going on over there, so turn that off. And if you'll notice, this lens treats color a little differently, but I'm actually kind of digging the colors right now of everything that's going on. Obviously, the blues have turned into almost like a gray. But I kind of prefer the way this lens looks, which is interesting because the 50 millimeter that I've been using, it's from Canon. It's brand new. This one I bought off Facebook Marketplace. So it was used, not used that much, but still has some time on it. So yeah, there's a lot of movement going on. So I might get distracted a lot tonight. Just forewarning, my son has someone spending the night, Maverick. Give a shout out to Maverick. But people keep going in and out of doors, and my door keeps slamming. So if you hear that knocking around, I'm not alone tonight. So yeah, I think that's about all I can talk about for the pre-show. I want to look up Uruguay. I want to see where that's at. Exactly. Okay. So Uruguay is about in the middle of South America. And the closest to you that I've been to Mexico, I've been to Nicaragua, I've been to Venezuela, and I've been to Colombia. So I've been at the very top of South America, several different places at the top of South America. But that's pretty cool. I think you're the first person I've ever talked to from Uruguay. So, what is your native language, Pablo? I know they spoke Portuguese in Brazil, and it was Spanish everywhere else that I went. Pablo says I should come sometime. I would love to go to Uruguay. I think that would be fun. Okay, so Pablo says they speak Spanish in Uruguay. And he says, excuse his English. So we've had several people from different countries in this chat. So I have struggled as a redneck from Nashville, Tennessee in the USA to try to communicate with people from other countries. But I do not know that much Spanish. I know how to order a hamburguesa con queso, grande Pepsi, and papas fritas. So I can get by ordering a Happy Meal. And Donde está el baño is one of the most important. It was the most important thing you need to learn when you go to another country is to how to find the bathroom. So Donde está el baño, very important. So eat, drink, and go to the bathroom. Learn those things right off. Those are high priority items for every human being on the planet. Know how to find the bathroom and know how to find some food. Dulce de leche. What is dulce de leche? I'm getting distracted by Pablo. So glad you're here in the chat. Very, very glad. So I think what we're going to do, I'm going to give you guys some kind of teasers about what we're going to talk about tonight. First of all, does anybody in the chat have any wish list items that the drones out there now don't have that you would like to see in a drone? I want to talk about what what your opinions are or what your wish list items would be. Ultimately, there's a good chance that what you want, DJI has already built, designed, and manufactured a lot of parts of this drone. So they're not going to listen to my channel and take your wish list items. But I would say the thing that I want the most is swappable cameras. That's what I want the most. And I would really, really like a camera that looks up. That is my favorite thing about the Parrot Anafi, and I really, really want it just because I love taking 360-degree photos from the sky. And my Parrot Anafi does it better than any of the other drones that I have. The Air 2S it's got wonderful connection. I can fly that thing a mile away and take a 360 photo a mile away from me. But in the Parrot Anafi, I can't do that because it doesn't have the range, doesn't have even close enough range, or it's not even close to the range that the Air 2S has. But anyway, so pointing up is one of my favorite things about my Parrot drone, and none of the DJI drones can do that. So that's my biggest thing that I want in a drone that I know they probably won't deliver on. Pablo says that he has, put him up here. Pablo says, I have the Mavic 2 Pro and sometimes I would like to have a zoom camera. Yep, I think so a Hasselblad camera with zoom capabilities. That's interesting. I like that. I think that's great. All right. So this is Maverick. He's standing outside my room. That's creepy. No, I'm just kidding. That's my son's friend. So yeah. So we've got zoom capabilities on a 1-inch sensor camera or better. I feel like they're going to have to put a better camera than a 1-inch sensor in there, but we will see. Something they did in the past was the zoom camera, the Mavic 2 Pro zoom, or sorry, the Mavic 2 zoom, when it came out, the camera wasn't any better than the original Mavic Pro. It just had zoom capabilities. Even though the drone had better flying capabilities, but the camera didn't do much. The camera wasn't better. So I have a feeling that what you just asked for, Pablo, might be the zoom version of this new drone if they follow the same suit. So a 1-inch censored camera that has zoom capabilities. Now my Air 2S has zoom capabilities on a 1-inch sensor, but the zoom kind of sucks. Like I don't think it's optical. It might be optical, but it doesn't feel like it's optical. It feels like there's quality loss when you zoom in with the Air 2S. So I don't use that at all. I used it a couple times. I thought it was cool, and then I watched it back on my computer, and I was like, "What did they do?" So I don't use that. But that's a huge possibility, in my opinion, for the zoom version of the 3. And then I think the Pro 3 has to have a better camera than what they have now. And whenever the drone came out, I mean, they came out with a Hasselblad 1-inch sensor. So I would think the camera would need to be something like, I don't know if they'll go bigger than a 1-inch sensor. A Micro Four Thirds sensor is not that much bigger than a 1-inch sensor. So we'll see if that happens or not. But I don't think that, in my opinion, I don't think the drone is going to be big enough to handle like the Micro Four Thirds camera that is the Zenmuse X5. And the Zenmuse X5, it has swappable lenses, and those lenses are heavy glass and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, my iPhone Pro, that's the size of the lens right there. And this camera is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So, so I think a 1-inch sensor, I think it can be done with a 1-inch sensor. I just think they're going to have to play with the refractions and, maybe anamorphic lenses or some sort of different type of lens array to make that happen and make it light. So that's my prediction there. But before we get into comparing different companies, we're going to show 3 videos from Steven Drones, one right after the other, and I am going to talk about them while we play them. I think I've turned the volume down on them, but I'm going to let you guys vote on which videos you guys want to see. We've got a train bridge, we have Indian Leap, and we have week 8 of the Amazon build. So Amazon, train, or Indian. Type that in the chat, and then we will play those videos in the order that I see them come in. We got 9 people in here. It's like I need to talk about DJI more often. So you've got 5 seconds, and then I'm going to pick a video. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Train. Okay, Grumpy Vlogger, thank you so much for participation. Welcome, Mel. I saw you left, and you said you'd be right back, and so welcome back. Oh, Stephen Drones showed up. There you go. So we're going to play some videos from Stephen Drones, and then we're going to talk about DJI. So this one's the train bridge. Now, I told you guys in the past, I love train bridges. I love like the strength you see in train bridges and the rustiness. Stephen Drones flies a unique Typhoon H+. It's a large hexacopter, so flying it in these tiny gaps over water is a big risk. But he's a pro at it now. He sends videos in every week, and he's getting really, really good. So I really like showing off his flights. There's the train bridge going over the river. And this shot that you're about to see is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. So he is flying into the train bridge. And we'll see if he goes in or not. Is he going in? Is he going to risk it? I have to say, he only has, if that's 8 feet wide, it might be 10 feet wide, then he only has about 4 feet on each side. That H+ is pretty big, and oh, that was, thought you were going to hit the train bridge. You probably would have sent me the video, though, if you'd hit the train bridge. Oh, so Stephen Drones pulled back because he lost GPS. That's interesting. So when you fly around large metal objects, it can mess up your instruments. But that was intense. And he always ends it with some really cool pictures. Very cool. All right. So Bob Casey says, oh, my volume is messing up. Bob Casey said, I did the train bridge, or I did that on a train bridge, and it drifted on me big time. All the metal messes up the GPS. Yep. I've had like there's one spot that I fly, and when I get over to a certain spot, I get these geo warnings of like magnetism in the earth or something like that. And so whenever I start getting those warnings, I just kind of pull back, because last thing I want is my drone to the instruments to mess up. But I love train bridges. I love their rustiness. I love the bolts, like the large pin bolts that are hammered in, and I just love that. Train bridges are great for macro photography too. You can get some really interesting shots, especially if you boost up the saturation, because you get like the brown of the rust is almost like a red color. And then if it's against a blue sky or against like green grass or against like water, if when you bump up the saturation, you get like the contrast between the reds and the greens and the blues and stuff like that. Very, very cool. Next thing we're going to show is we're going to show Indian Leap. Again, this is Stephen Drones, and this was shot on his Canon PowerShot. So this is not a drone video, but this is Indian Leap. Oh, Grumpy, I'm so sorry. My bad. I'm doing too much. I'm thinking too much. Sorry, Lloyd. So Stephen Jones says this is the same spot on the bridge. So I noticed you had this aerial shot of the bridge, and it looked like this dam kind of next to it. And I'm thinking that's what this is. All right. So that's Yantic Falls at Indian Leap. And now here's the Amazon video. This is week 8. So we've been showing, one of the things I like to do on my channel is I like to do waypoint missions using DroneLink and using Flight Path or Flight Plan with the Parrot Anafi drone. And I like to do the same mission over and over and over again just to see the progress of building a neighborhood or the progress through the seasons of like, this is what it looks like when the leaves aren't on the trees, and this is what it looks like with leaves on the trees. So Stephen Drones, they're building an Amazon warehouse by his house or close to where he lives. And so they're, for the last 8 weeks, he's been sending videos in. And so we've been kind of watching the progress. I think it's really, really cool. And he's getting better and taking some pointers from me. Not that I'm the most amazing person on the planet, but you can always use an extra eye, right? So check this out. In the last couple of weeks, there's been all these holes stamped into this property. Steve, have you figured out what those are yet? I haven't really asked around, but I'm still curious as to what those are. Love the bulldozers, love the gravel versus the dirt. And I even love the background in it. And I think where you frame the shot, where you just have a tiny little bit of the sky, I think that's perfect. I do that angle all the time. You're getting a lot smoother with your flying. Okay. So Stephen Jones says they're testing the soil. I think it's interesting they're testing the soil all in the same spot. But that does make sense. Soil samples. Oh, that's a cool shot. Good job on the fly out. Nice. Yeah, I like that last shot a lot. All right. Well, those are the videos from Stephen Drones that he sent in this week. So everybody give him a shout out and tell him how awesome he is. So what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about the Mavic Pro 3 or the Pro 3 because they're getting rid of the Mavic name. But I want to show you guys, before I show you, we're going to go through Drone DJ's website and see kind of the predictions that him and several people have come up with. Before we go there, I want to show off some of my favorite companies that produce photography drones and discuss the best that they have to offer. And for DJI to be competitive with their new drone, need to be on par with or better than what these drone companies offer. Okay. So the first company, this company has my heart, but I can't afford any of their drones anymore. The drones that they've been coming out with lately they've kind of moved past consumer and just gone full on pro. Okay. You can still purchase the Paradinafi, but we're going to talk about this company. And I think for presentation purposes, we're going to pull that off. And we're just going to go there. Oh, very cool, Pablo. I'm not going to put it in this week, but next week, definitely. It's right here in the ticker on how to send me videos and photos, but I'll go ahead and put my email address right in the chat so you can copy and paste if you need to. All right, so that's my email address, sean.i.studios@gmail.com. If you send me a YouTube link to your video, then I will put it on my live stream next week. I would love to see your country, especially if you got like drone footage, but it doesn't necessarily have to be drone footage. Yeah, that'd be awesome, Pablo. For those of you just joining, Pablo's from Uruguay. So this is our first viewer from Uruguay that I can recollect. But a lot of you guys have seen my Paradinafi videos, and I love my Paradinafi. One of the last videos that I put out was with a Paradinafi that I did the math then. I'm not sure if I got it right today, but that drone is at least a couple years old. It's got over 100 flights on the original blades and is still flying. And I whenever I fly, I don't like a flight's not like I just did a hover test and brought it back down. Like I'm flying with flight plan. I'm flying about a mile away, and by the time I'm done with the flight, it's flown like 3.5 miles. So I have flown that drone like crazy, and everybody always talked about how fragile the drone was, but I just think it was built efficiently. I think it was built light. And they use a lot of materials that's really, really interesting. Like the one of the drones that I'm giving one of my friends is the Parrot Bebop 2, and it's kind of like this plasticine, styrene type material. It's not styrofoam, but it's like this really, really, really awesome material that's very, very strong but extremely light. It's almost like something they would make a surfboard out of or something like that. And then they cover it with a very light sheet of plastic so that it doesn't break apart and stuff like that. The batteries have always been removable. The blades are not as easy to swap out, but like I said, on that Paradinafi, I haven't swapped out the blades. And it's a company that doesn't just copy other companies. Like the Paradinafi drone is very, very unique in how it folds. It doesn't, you see a lot of companies that just, the DJI Mavic Pro is kind of the first folding drone that we had. Well, besides the GoPro, whatever that was. I forgot all about that drone. But Paradinafi, it folds uniquely, and then they're not held back by, the camera has to be pointing down. Their cameras can point up. Their the flight characteristics, they're very precise. They're very, sometimes they don't put gimbals on their drones. Sometimes they just use digital stabilization and they do an entire sphere. Like, they're a company that doesn't, they just don't copy people. And DJI has actually taken some of their characteristics of their drones have come from Parrot drones. And I have a whole video on about the Parrot Bebop 2, on the controllers and the app and all that kind of stuff. So, and I still think Parrot Anafi flight plan is the best thing out there if you don't count DroneLink. If DroneLink didn't come on, DroneLink is actually amazing for DJI drones. But as far as, the software coming with the drone, it's an in-app purchase, but still very, 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 very wonderful software. And in recent, so they don't even have the Parrot Anafi on their website anymore. You can still buy it, but they've got the Anafi USA, which is designed for the U.S. Army, and it's made for enterprise users. And let's talk about that real quick and what it can do, because it has a few features that I would really, really like to see on the Pro 3. So this was that I don't know what just happened there. The drone was designed for first responders and enterprise professionals. It has a 32 times zoom. Designed around a 21 megapixel cameras, allowing operators to see details clearly from 3.1 miles away. That's awesome. So the zoom image is coupled with images from the FLIR camera. So you can actually zoom in and see the heat signatures of what you're looking at from 1.2 miles away. So you can actually zoom in with your FLIR camera and see, doing inspections and see where the heat is. If you can zoom in that far, you don't have to get your drone close to what you're trying to fly around. We just saw in Steven Drone's video where he lost GPS connection when he was next to a big metal bridge. And a lot of inspections happened around cell towers and large windmills and, big things that are made out of metal. So with the zoom capabilities and the heat capabilities, with the, being able to see, with an infrared camera from really, really far away, you don't have to move your drone into a dangerous position where it's going to lose compass. It's going to lose GPS. So I think zoom is a huge, huge thing when it comes to zooming in. And I think zoom, all photographers, unless you're talking about like a portrait photographer, but we went to the Titans game this weekend with my son, and they had these cameras with lenses, these huge lenses, and those cameras can zoom in really, really far. The whole point of that is so you don't have to be next to the person to take a picture of them, or you don't have to be next to a building to take a picture of it. You can fly at a safe distance and then take a picture of it. So I think zoom capabilities is a no-brainer to me. One of the first drones that zoom capabilities came out on, as far as these foldable drones, was the Parrot Anafi. And then right after the Parrot Anafi came out, DJI came out with the zoom, the Mavic 2 zoom. Now, there are other cameras that can zoom in. Don't get me wrong, like the Inspires can zoom and stuff like that. But if we're talking about the Mavic series, zoom showed up after Parrot did it. And then I don't know that an infrared camera is going to be on just the Pro version. I think the infrared camera would be on like the enterprise version of the 3. Something else in this ruggedized section, the Anafi USA has passed the IP53 qualification, making it suitable to fly in rainy conditions. It's built for missions in the toughest flight conditions, offering weatherproofing with water and dust resistance. That's on my wish list as well. I would love to be able to fly in the rain. Since I've been doing drone videos on my YouTube channel, I've not been able to fly on a rainy day. I have 360. I used to not be able to do 360-degree cameras in the rain, but I can with the waterproof cases that have come out on some cameras, and cameras like the 1X2 that is waterproof out of the gate. So I would love to have a drone that was waterproof out of the gates. GoPros have been waterproof for years, and there are waterproof drones out there, but they're not amazing, but they're waterproof. So I would love to see at least water and dust resistant, especially like flying in the desert or flying at the beach. There's a good chance you're going to kick up a lot of dust as soon as your propellers start going off. So that's something that I would love to see. And I think that those two things are the things that I really want to take from the Anafi USA. I believe the Anafi USA has a really, really long flight time, but I don't remember. Oh, 32-minute flight time. Okay, so that's where that is. Now I want to talk about the Anafi AI. Now, I don't think this is going to be in the Pro 3, just because Anafi just announced it, and DJI hasn't had enough time to copy it. But I want you guys to look at this thing. The design, well, first of all, let's just get it out there. This is a 4G drone, okay? So something that DJI has done over the years, they've brought out, several versions of OcuSync. They've had, connection to the drone is something that's important to DJI, and it's something that they continue to improve upon. So, we've gone from Wi-Fi drones to radio control drones with OcuSync. We've got, all these different signals that can pass through the sky, communicate from the controller to the drone. 4G is another step forward. 4G, we've got 5G phones now, but I used to have a guy that would come hang out on the channel. His name was Jet, and he had a Parrot Disco, which is a fixed wing drone from Parrot, and he had a 4G mod on it, and he could fly that thing miles away from his home and not ever worry about losing connection. And that's what's beautiful about this Parrot Anafi AI. What the Anafi AI can do is 4G compatible, so now you're not limited with connections between you and the drone. You're not limited with a building in between you and your controller, your controller and your drone, right? So that's the biggest thing that I want to take away. This has a 4-megapixel camera. It's autonomous. And I don't really want to talk that much about it, but I just want you to look at the drone here. So instead of the sensors being fixed on the drone, these sensors actually move up and down with the camera. So whatever you're pointing at, it can point up, it can point down, it can point left, it can point right. So this gimbal has a lot of moving parts, and it's not the same gimbal that everybody else manufactures. This is a new, innovative thing that Parrot has done with their drone. You see this huge air scoop, so overheating's not an issue, and the ability for the sensors to be movable, I think, is awesome. And I do have a picture that I think that DJI might be doing that, but I'm not sure. They're not doing this, but you might be able to move things around. And I just love the way this thing looks. It's not your typical drone, the way things look. You know what I mean? The Mavic series, they've all kind of looked the same for years. They changed a little bit here and there. The Spark and the Air were outside of the box, but everything else looks just like the Pro, the original Pro. They just changed the body shape a little bit. And I feel like DJI is kind of stuck on that body style. But if it works, it works. Nobody's really complaining about it, right? So that's all we're going to talk about with Parrot. So takeaways from Parrot, I would like to see 4G capabilities, or at least an option. And I like the sensors that point in different directions, that help with the drone. You know, like I have a thing on my car. When I turn my turn signal on, a little side light shows up because it knows that I'm going to turn in that direction, and it lights up the side of the road. I love that. And it'd be cool if the drone starts moving in a certain direction, that the sensors adjust accordingly. And then I want it to be waterproof. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to go over to Unique. Now, Unique is not the place to go to find a foldable drone. So we're not going to talk about folding drones here with Unique. But I do want to bring some things up as far as Unique is concerned. And it's the swappable cameras. What I love about the Q500 and the Typhoon H, the Typhoon H Plus, the 5200, or sorry, the 520, and even the H3, they have all of these different cameras and these different modifications. When the 2 Pro came out from DJI, there were 2 options. There was the Pro that had a 1-inch sensor, and then there was the Zoom, which had a lesser capable camera, but it had zoom capabilities. And so they had those 2 options, but they weren't swappable. They were, you can unscrew some screws and pull one of the cameras out and swap it out with the other one. What was cool was that it was the exact same drone. They just had different cameras on them. But I would really, really like, just like their Inspire series, to be able to remove the camera and place another camera on there. And the reason I like that is because it would be great to be able to pull that camera off and be able to swap it out with a GoPro or a 360 camera or something like that. And that's just my personal taste. I know I'm about the only, I'm one of the few that likes to put other cameras on drones and put them up in the air. But I think it would be awesome to be able to purchase one drone and then maybe even and I'll go back to Insta360. I like Insta360 360 cameras. And the 1R that came out last year or the year before, it was a modular camera system. So I could buy one battery, one brain, and then I could buy a 1-inch sensor lens, I could buy a GoPro type lens, and I could buy a 360 lens. And I can swap all those little pieces out. With the Unique Typhoon H Plus, you can remove the camera, and I don't think they ever really made other payloads that would go with the H Plus, but you could remove that camera. And I believe with the Typhoon H520, the enterprise version of the Typhoon H, you can swap out cameras with all these different payloads. So you've got an RGB camera with a 1-inch Sony sensor, You've got a optical zoom, you've got a dual thermal, and you've got a fluorothermal. So you've got all these different type of cameras that you can swap out. I would love to see that on the Pro, especially since the last time they came out with the Pro, they had 2 versions. So how easy would it be to have multiple versions? And they've already, with the Enterprise version of their drone, there are swappable parts, swappable, pluggable parts. You can plug in like a speaker, you can plug in lights, you can, there's several things that you can plug in. I would love to see the Pro 3 have some modular pieces to it. So there's that. And I think that's all I want to talk about with Unique. Now let's move to Autel. We're going to talk about Autel. So Pablo says he would like to have the possibility of buying only the drone and use the smart controller for all of them. I think that's a great idea. I also that brings up an excellent point. Do you guys think they're going to come out with a new smart controller with the 3 series? They have a tendency to come out with new controllers that aren't compatible with their old controllers. Like the OcuSync 3 controller is not compatible with the OcuSync 2 drone, stuff like that. So is it a possibility that they might be coming out with a new smart controller as well? I think that was my wife. I think I lost my train of thought. Give me 1 second. I don't think they're going to come out with a smart controller immediately. I think if the way that they do it is they get everybody to buy their drone, spend thousands of dollars on their drone, and then they release an accessory 6 months later, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to shell out more money for that accessory. They're really good at DJI is really good at splitting up, making things proprietary that they can only use. You can only use their products with their drones or with their cameras. And they're really good at making accessories too. So that's that. I wanted to bring up the Evo 2 8K. And I wanted to bring up the 3 Autel drones that are out there. I mean, there's more Autel drones, but we're going to talk about the Evo 2 because this is really what the Pro 3 is going to be competing with as far as Autel is concerned. So the Evo 2 8K, here it's, as you can see, it's got a large camera on it that can shoot 8K video, but it's not 8K amazing video. It's just, think of the 8K drone as kind of like the zoom version of the Pro 2, because the camera is not amazing. It just has a large enough sensor that you can get 8K video out of it. But can you guys see my mouse? But this thing has sensors everywhere. It's got 2 on the top, 2 on the sides, got 2 here in the front. Just a very, very nice drone. And these are the 3 different versions of the Evo 2. Again, these drones are not, or these cameras are not swappable. You have to buy 3 separate drones to get these capabilities. Let me take a drink. But to give you an idea of what Evo's done with their camera systems, the Evo 2 Pro, which is the drone that I have, it can only shoot 6K video, but it has a 1-inch 20 megapixel sensor. Okay. Whereas the RGB sensor on the Evo 2 has a half-inch CMOS sensor, but it's a 48 megapixel sensor. And the way they do that is how they their pixel density. So this has a 1-inch sensor, but it can only take 20 megapixels because of the different pixel density. This is actually taking a better image. The 6K is a better image than the 8K image coming out of the 8K camera. I know that's confusing, but oh, Mario's here. What's up, Mario? I didn't even see you in the chat. Is the Air 2S currently remote ID compatible? If not, I think the firmware update would make it compatible. So Mario Napa has a really good point about remote ID. I'm not sure how it is across the world, but in America, they're gonna be instituting a remote ID. So I would hope that the Mavic 3 would be remote ID compatible. And Stephen Jones says it's definitely gonna cost more money. I'm thinking probably $3,000 at least. So Fox Fader says these cameras are interchangeable. I'm not sure if they're interchangeable or not. You can't buy the cameras just by themselves. I don't think. But let's look at the website and we'll see if I'm right or wrong. And then the Dual, it has a FLIR camera on it. So this would be more if you're doing inspections that you need to see, the heat signatures of what you're inspecting. So maybe you have a short in your cell tower and you're looking for, burn marks, or you're looking for, where something's running hot. That's what the FLIR camera would be for. The Dual only has a 38-minute flight time, but that's because the camera is heavier. But these are literally the same drones with just different cameras on them. Okay, and the Evo 2 Dual probably has a little bit different software. I mean, I'm sure it has different firmware, but to handle the two cameras. But from a visual standpoint, from a mechanical standpoint, from a functionality standpoint, all three of these drones are the same, just the different cameras. So I would love to see that with the Pro 3, and I would love for them to be interchangeable on the fly, like a plug and play type thing, just like all the Zenmuse cameras. DJI already knows how to do it. Just like they did it well with the Osmo grip, and then you had the Zenmuse 3 or the Zenmuse X5. You had the Plus, like you had all those things that plugged into that grip. They already know how to do that stuff. I would love for that to happen on the drones, and you can include the gimbal with the camera and all that kind of stuff. I'm okay with all of that. But Fox Fader, we're going to look at this. And look at the shop. Let's see if we have big. Yeah, there's the 1-inch sensor. So let's look at these are the Evo 2 accessories. Oh, you can. One-inch sensor, 28 meg, only for Evo 2. So yeah, it looks like you can swap out the cameras. So Fox Fader, you get a sticker. You get a gold star. So yeah, so I want that. I wanted to take that from Autel and put it in the 3 Pro. Wow, I did not know that. So these are sold out but it doesn't say how much they are. I would love to get that and put that on the channel. It still looks like you need to unscrew it, but it looks like there's a screw there and 2 screws back there, and then you're golden. So yes, I want that. The other thing I wanted to look at while we're here is to look at the Autel Smart Controller and see if it's any different than the DJI Smart Controller. This Smart Controller is very expensive, so I don't know how many people will even get this, but it's sold out, so some people got it. This is a 7.9 Retina display, 2,000 nits, and it operates for 4.5 hours. So all that's good. It's got internal memory, 128 gigs. Rugged design. It's got USB and HDMI out, so that's good. That's what I love about the smart controller, the DJI Smart Controller. So, yeah, that's all we're going to take from DJI. Before we go to DJI's website, I want to just look at the Skydio site for just a minute. This was the drone that kind of made or broke YouTube. Some people loved it, and some people crashed it immediately. So, this drone really, what I wanted to bring up about the Skydio drones is just the fact that it could fly through anything, supposedly. Oh, we got... So Fox Fader says, from what I remember, you can swap them in a few minutes. And then Fox Fader says, Autel should work on the standard controller. They should get rid of the gimmicky screen and build a way better, more ergonomic controller. I agree with that. Because I think I never had the Autel 1 or the Evo 1, but I think the Evo 1 and the Evo 2 they came with the same controller, right? And it's kind of the same thing DJI did for a while. I don't necessarily mind the controller, but I have had mine when it first came out. I had it crash. Either the app crashed a lot on my iPhone, or the connection, I would just lose connection. I would have either controls, or like I'd have telemetry, but I wouldn't have video feed, or I would just have video feed and all my telemetry would be like dashes or whatever. But Fox Fader, thank you so much for your comments. That's one thing that Skydio really screwed up on, was their controller. Here's another company that took from Parrot. Just saying. They have the Parrot controller, and the Parrot controller is not that great. It works and it's functional, but as far as holding, they didn't take into account different types of phone sizes. I think the controller on the Air 2 and the Air 2S, and I think the Mini 2, like that type of controller, I really, really love that new design that DJI has on their controllers, as opposed to like the Mavic Pro controller. I did think it was awesome whenever the Mavic Pro came out and it had an LCD screen on the controller. I really like that, because the LCD screen in some instances is a whole lot easier to read in the bright sun than seeing your phone screen. But with the Skydio, I really just love the autonomous tracking. And with the Pro Series foldable drones, I think being able to move around objects is important because you're really focusing. You're not like FPV, you're driving forward the whole time, or you're flying forward the whole time. And so you're avoiding obstacles on the fly. But from a videographer standpoint, if you're doing a cable cam or you're doing a slide or something like that, you really, like, your eyes, like, just let's talk about the human body for a second. I can smell and I can hear and I can feel and I can see. I can't always see what's behind me, but I can hear things coming up on me, right? So I love the sensors being all over the drone on the Skydio. That's about the only thing I wanted to take from that drone. So now we're going to talk about the Air 2S. And let's get there and let's go here. The Air 2S is has sensors pointing up, has sensors pointing forward, and it has a camera that's just as capable as the 2 Pro. Okay. So they're going to have to make the camera better than what we have here. This has a 1-inch sensor and it can shoot 5.4K video, 30 frames per second. It senses obstacles in all 4 directions. And the transmission, like I've done some flights in my backyard and I've flown it over a mile away and I haven't even lost a bar yet with my Air 2S, and it flies for 30 minutes. So I think having a drone, I think it's going to have to, the Pro 3 is going to have to at least fly for 30 minutes. And I think the connection is going to have to be amazing. They'll probably be better than what they have now. So I think we've talked so much about other companies that I don't know that we need to really talk about this that much. There's a 1-inch sensor. And this camera, like what you can see on this camera is there's a lot of bezel. So they have room to put a bigger lens on this camera or on this drone. And all they really need to do is bring the camera down a little bit and bring it out a little bit, and they could fit a 4/3 sensor in there. I had this up, but I lost it. So I just wanted to show you guys the difference between a 1-inch sensor and a 4/3. So right here we've got a 1-inch sensor and a 4/3 sensor. A micro 4/3 sensor is not that much bigger. And if you go back to this picture, this is almost the same thing to me. This is the 1-inch sensor and this is the micro 4/3 sensor. So if all you need to do is increase the size by that much, I think they could put a micro 4/3 sensor in there. What do you guys think? What's up, Ray Kelly? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. Hope you're having a good night. So in my opinion, a micro 4/3 sensor can fit in the camera. It doesn't have to have a huge lens on it. And as an example, I'm coming to you guys on a Canon C100 that has a 1-inch sensor, but the camera is this big, okay? This big. But my Air 2S has a 1-inch sensor on it, and that camera is only about that big, okay? So some people are saying Micro Four Thirds. There's no way they're going to put that on the drone. I think they can do it, but that's my personal opinion. And I have been wrong a lot, but I'm humble. I think I think all this other stuff is going to be on there. Hyperlapse capabilities. I really want to see them take waypoints to the next level, just because it takes them forever to get their drones on the mobile SDK so you can use DroneLink with it. One of the biggest mistakes I did with my YouTube channel this year is I sold my Air 2 to get the Air 2S, and I can't do DroneLink videos with my Air 2S yet because the mobile SDK has not come out. Okay. So I think master shots and that kind of stuff is cool, but I think it's kind of gimmicky. I think people really want to be in control of their video, especially from a professional level. But I do like being able to take a quick shot of a neighborhood, like the last video that I put out, stuff like that. I really enjoy that, just because my channel is geared towards geared towards all type of flyers, but I like to show beginners how to use their drones, as well as people that have had drones for years. So for the beginners that watch my channel, it's nice to say, throw your drone up in the air and click this button, and then magic happens. I mean, those are good videos, So the Air 2S has Spotlight 2.0, so it can track active track, and then point of interest 3.0. Easily take a perfect circle shot while keeping your subject centered. So there's all that. And I think that's all we're going to talk about there. Just making sure nothing new has showed up in the chat. Okay, we're good there. So the last thing I want to do is I want to pull up Drone DJ's website. And I just want to make sure you guys know that I'm not plagiarizing his website. I just think it's full of good information, and I want to show it to you guys. So full credit goes to dronedj.com, and Felipe Esposito wrote this blog. So give him a shout out. Go follow him on Twitter. I'm not going to take credit for this part at all. I do take credit for all the opinions that I've said so far, because that was all me. But I wanted to get my opinions out before I started looking at what other people have said. So we're going to go through this website a little bit. This sensor right here kind of looks like it could be movable, like it could move around and point in different directions, but that might be too much. But it kind of looks like a 180 degree type camera, like a 360 camera. Okay. And I want you to look at that camera. You can definitely fit a 4/3 sensor in that thing. So, but who knows if this is real or not? It's a picture, and it has Drone Modelismo logo on there, so they're getting a lot of free publicity for posting this picture. It might be a leaked photo. It might just be a bunch of bull. We don't know. Before we go here, I wanted to see if anybody knew what this event was on September 8th. It's called High Five, and it looks like modular. Like, I know Apple and a lot of different companies, they'll put Easter eggs in their in kind of their marketing material for these events. So what does 5 mean? Is this the 5th year that they've done this? Is this something that's modular? I'm not familiar with anything that's going on right here. And maybe it's they have 5 drones, or I don't know. I don't know what the 5's for. But if you guys know what that's all about, put it in the comments, and then I'll tell everybody else. But I would like to know what there's a box with a 5 in it that's flipping around, and it looks like something can fall apart, like in modular. Like It's 360 did this whenever their 1R came out. But I'm just, I want to know what that's about. What would 5 possibly be? So, all right. So back to this. And I'm not going to go through this whole website. You can look it up. Basically, all I looked up was Mavic Pro 3 rumors or whatever. Oh. So Pablo said Phantom 5. That's really interesting. So it's a white box, and it's up in the clouds, so you know it's drone probably because it's high. And the Phantom 5. So maybe they're coming out with the Phantom 5. So Pablo says Phantom 5. So we're going to put that up there with his face on it. I think you're probably really good. You're probably right there. Ray Kelly says the Osmo Mobile 5, but there's only 2 versions of the Osmo Mobile. Right? So the Osmo Mobile would be on the 3. The Mini would be on a 3. The Air would be on a 3, but they just came out with a 2S. So as far as since we're up in the clouds, I think it has to be a drone. Brett Newman says, or the OM5 with a built-in telescoping selfie stick, hence the high 5 or the high 5. That's funny. But yeah, there's not an Osmo Mobile 4 yet, or even a 3. The Osmo Action there's only one of those, right? So yeah. All right. So stay tuned for September 8th. I might live stream that event. And just give you guys my reaction to what's going on. So it's 8 o'clock. So we're going to run through Drone DJ specs real quick, and then we're going to call it a night. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this journey through what's out there right now and in the market, what DJI needs to compete with. A lot of people say DJI they don't have anything to compete with. They can do whatever they want to. But if a company like DJI puts out a drone that does less than a competitor's drone does, and like we've seen, the Mavic Pro 2, it's lasted a couple years. Like it's been a good product for several years, and they haven't needed to improve it. But since they brought out the Air 2S, which is perfect in my opinion, Now they need something better than that. Autel can take better images. Parrot's got a waterproof drone out there that can fly in 4G. There's a lot of things out there that are very, very competitive, or that are better than DJI right now. So they're going to have to up their game a little bit. So let's look at the specs that Drone DJ came up with. So main features: collision avoidance. That's a given. All their drones have come out with sensors all over them, especially their professional ones. It says side sensors removed, and maybe they're just talking about this image. Front and rear sensors shifted to the corners and are apparently wide angle. So that's what I said about this image. It looks like a 360 camera. If these sensors are like 180 and there's 4 of them, I would love to like 360 capabilities, but I doubt that DJI even cares about 360 video. Hasselblad dual camera. I'm not sure why they'd need dual cameras, but the top with a 7x zoom and the bottom with a 5.7K f2.8. That's interesting. So I don't know that I agree with that. Why would you need 2 cameras, one to zoom and one? Is that like the iPhone has a wide angle, a telephoto, and a regular camera? Is that what that's about? That's interesting. It seems to me like you just make the 1-inch or the micro four thirds camera. Like if you made one micro four thirds camera that could zoom, then I think that's all you would need. And if you have 2 cameras on the same drone, then you don't need to. They're not going to sell the same person 2 drones, which part of their gimmicks in the past. 16 millimeter adapter lens. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. So like a wide angle snap on, kind of like a moment lens. Apple ProRes format support. 1 terabyte internal memory. No. Well, we'll see. But yeah, with SD cards the way they are, I don't think their internal memory would be 1 terabyte, or else you'd never use SD cards. And there's a chance that hard drive on your, or the SSD on your drone could go bad, and I don't think they'll ever get away from removable media. More than 40-minute flight time. That'd be awesome. I think that's a great thing. Lithium ion batteries, battery mount on the back, Mini 2 style. That's interesting. That's interesting. I'll take that. That's what the Evos do. Gimbal now has integrated automatic lock, so you don't need the acrylic protector. That's interesting. It also protects the lenses from scratches, though, so I don't know that I agree with that. I like the automatic locking, though. We'll use the same remote control as the Air 2S. A new smart controller will be released too. Okay, so we said most of that tonight. The camera's a little weird looking, not gonna lie. That's interesting. But it would be really cool if you could take video, like what's the name of that app? There's an app for the iPhone that lets you take video from several cameras at the same time. It'd be really cool if you could dual record a zoomed in version and a zoomed out version. So that would be pretty cool. So yeah. Oh, nope, don't want to remove myself. Well, that's it, y'all. That was Tuesday Night Studio Sessions. Let me know in the chat or the comments of this video after the fact if you have any predictions that we didn't mention tonight. I love doing this kind of stuff. Whenever we talked about the Insta360 One X2, we had a lot of fun that night just hacking their website, finding pictures and stuff like that. So these are some of my favorite live streams to do. And I've been in this game long enough that I can start to see the projections. I can see what's needed. I can see what came out on drones that really wasn't needed. So yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and click on the bell for notifications when I put out more videos, more live streams. Some of the videos we have coming up is I'm going to do a full-on review of the C100 and why it's relevant in 2021. Yeah, and some other videos with 360 cameras, action cameras, and drones. So yeah, thank you for everybody that showed up tonight. We had a good time. I look forward to this every week. So please like, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you all on the next video. Peace out.